Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to keep this week's video pretty short because we're not really doing much in Unity. Yes, I have it open because we will be using it, but we're not really creating anything new in the game this week. What we're going to be focusing on is creating a trailer to promote our game. So we'll need Unity to get some screenshots and hopefully some video recorded of gameplay, but then we'll mostly be using iMovie to edit this. Now, you should all have some experience with iMovie by now, and you've probably used it more lately than I have. So I'm not going to walk you through a step-by-step iMovie tutorial, but I have linked some good tips to making a good trailer with iMovie in our Schoology folder for this week. So even if you're good with iMovie, take a glance at that to get some tips, but I imagine most of you know enough about iMovie that you can handle this without me spoon-feeding you every step. And once you've created your trailer, you'll be uploading it to the comments on Schoology so that we can watch each other's trailers and leave some feedback. We'll use the feedback that we get from our trailers to help us add some polish and make some improvements to our game next week, which will be your last chance to make some improvements to the game before we're done for the semester. But before you even get into the editing, you're going to need some raw footage. You need to capture your game. Both photographs and videos will be useful. I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can get this done, because I know that some of these programs may or may not work as intended with your student laptops. One thing to do, since we're trying to show off the game, not so much how it was made, is go over to your Game tab and make sure that you have this right here selected, Maximize on Play. You want to select Maximize on Play so that when we're test playing our game, we get to see a nice full screen version of it, or at least as close to full screen as we can get without actually building and running the game as a finished program. If you're feeling ambitious, you could do that, and it might make your life a little bit easier in the long run, but you can feel free to record with Maximize on Play on, and that should be good enough to get us where we're going. Now, I am right now recording my screen with QuickTime. That's how I make these videos. But if you were going to start your own recording, you would come down here, click on your QuickTime player. If you don't see QuickTime right down here, you can go into your Finder, go to Applications, scroll down. Q is going to be pretty far down. And there's your QuickTime player right here in your Finder if you need it. But with QuickTime player selected, then you can simply go to File, and then New Screen Recording. Now again, I've already started a screen recording, so I can't really start one right now and show it to you, but you get the idea. After you do New Screen Recording, you can just choose whether or not to record your voice. You guys probably won't need to. And then you can either just click to start recording your entire screen, or if you were to click and drag, you could do something like click and drag just from the top corner of your game window and drag it down to the bottom corner of your game window. And then you wouldn't have to worry about showing all these icons in the bottom or the menus up top. I've left that stuff showing intentionally right now because that's going to be helpful as I teach you how to do things. But for a game trailer, that stuff really isn't very appealing. So if you're paying close attention, go ahead and try to crop that out whenever possible. Oh, and when you want to stop your QuickTime recording, you can come up right here and click on this little icon, and that will stop your recording. And then just make sure that you actually save that recording and that you know where you're saving it so that you can actually bring it into iMovie and start using it. So QuickTime is probably the only option available to you to record video. If QuickTime isn't working for you and you really want to have video, unfortunately, I think your only other alternative would be to do something like record your screen with your phone, which is probably doomed to not look great. But if you've tried QuickTime and you can't do the video recording and you really want to get some video in there, you can use phone video, but please don't do it unless you've tried QuickTime and it didn't work. But game trailers aren't made up of just video of gameplay. We can also use some good screenshots. So again, we're going to really try to avoid using pictures taken on our phones. So the easiest way to take a screenshot, if it works for you, is to do Command, Shift, and 4 on your keyboard. After you hit Command, Shift, 4, you'll get a little crosshair for your cursor, and you can move that up to wherever you want to start your picture, and then drag it down and select exactly what you want to screenshot. Now, after you've done that, assuming this function is working on your laptop, you should have a screenshot show up right here on your desktop. And if I double click it, there it is. I can take this file and I can take it into iMovie and use this as a still frame. Now, if Apple's built-in screenshot function isn't working for you, there is one more way that we should be able to avoid using our phones and take a good screenshot on our computer. So what you can do is you can come down here to your Finder. With your Finder window open, click on Applications, and then you're going to be scrolling all the way down until you see this Utilities folder. Select your Utilities folder, and then go over to the right, and what we're looking for is Grab. Grab is a really simple program. If we double click on it, it'll open right up. I'll close or minimize this window to get it out of my way, and then you can see I've got Grab open, and then I can go and click on Capture. So I could capture the whole window by clicking on Window and then clicking on the Unity window, and I could crop that later. I could capture my entire screen, or I could go with a selection. Now, if I go with selection while I'm playing the game, you can see it's a little unfortunate that I'm trying to pick my selection, but the screen in my game is sort of looking at the ground. This isn't going to make a great screenshot, and I don't really have a lot of control over it right now. So I just took a screenshot, but it's probably not really the one that I wanted. So I'm going to delete that one instead of saving it. This is something more like the screenshot that I want. I want to be showing off the assets that are in my game, making sure that people can actually see what's going on here. So if I were going to try this again, so this is a little awkward, but what I really want to do is keep my Finder window open and leave a little bit of space so that I can bring my mouse off of the Unity screen and over here. And now I can go into Applications and down to Utilities and then open up Grab again. And now this time, if I go back to Capture and Window, I can just choose the window, and this is a much better screenshot. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to be in play mode to show off your game in a good way. Now, I do like this one, so let me go ahead and save this one. So I'll go up to File and Save, and I'll just save this as SS2 for Screenshot 2 on my desktop. I've got a couple of good screenshots now. Playing your game is absolutely one good way to get some good screenshots from it, but you don't necessarily have to be playing your game. You could go into your scene view and you could go get some kind of interesting angles from your scene view. Now again, you don't want to probably let it look like an unfinished game by zooming out. You don't really want people to see too much about how the sausage is made. You want this to feel more like a complete game or a completed world. But if you zoomed in and found a good angle like this, you might be able to show off your world with a screenshot like this. And this one could be easier to take in some ways because I can come over here, I can make sure that I've got Grab open again, and with Grab selected, I can go Capture, Selection, and then I can just go ahead and sort of automatically crop out all the Unity stuff and just make a selection like this. And that's a pretty good screenshot of my game. So once again, I'll File Save, I'll make this SS3, save that on the desktop, and now I've got a nice little collection of screenshots that I can use in iMovie. Now again, you guys probably already know this, but just to start the process, if I go to Finder and Applications, I can just scroll down to the eyes, double click on iMovie, and where it says Import Media, this is where we can start to bring in these assets, these pieces of media that are going to go in our timeline and help us start creating our video. So at the moment, all that I have are these still frames, but even with stills, there's a lot that you can do with different effects and text layering over it, adding some music. But again, I'm not here to teach you iMovie. You should all have enough experience with iMovie by now to get started with this. And again, I've got a separate video with some good tips and pointers about how to create a trailer and a short reading for you to do on what makes a good game trailer as well. So, between what you already know, this little video on how to get your screens captured, and those other resources giving you some pointers, I think you guys should be able to make a pretty convincing little game trailer. Really, this trailer's job should be to make your game look way more impressive and finished than it already even is. Every game trailer always tries to put its best foot forward, and most of those game trailers, at least the early ones that you see, are created well before the game is completed and ready for the players to consume it. So let's make sure that we're putting our game's best foot forward and showing it off in the absolute best light possible. Alright, take a look at those other resources in Schoology, make the best dang trailer you can, upload it to the comments, and then check out the trailers uploaded by your classmates, and be sure to leave them some feedback on what you think. Alright everybody, good luck and have fun.